finally, in our time together on the issue of community, I'd like to spend some time looking at what's called Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. Why am I picking this? Well, I'm picking it because it gives us kind of a model, some kind of a guideline or a set of criteria to use if we're trying to think about why people do what they do, because what people do makes up community, right? And he's got this set of needs that he's broken down into 5 layers. The most fundamental needs are bottom layer, and then as you move up the layer, they become less and less essential for living and more relate to what you'd like to do what you want to do. And we might call that self-actualization. You can actually do what you think is best for you because you've taken care of a lot of other things. And once you move up this scale, you don't feel very good going back down again. So keep that in mind. And we'll be talking about this more later too. But I wanted to introduce it now because it gives us kind of a model as to, well, why do people do what they do in culture? You'll see the first level is this physiological. And there that, we got to have air to breathe, we got to have food to eat, we need water, sleep, and be able to just function in a basic way. I got food on the table, I got a roof over my head, I'm breathing air and I'm not getting sick and all my body functions are working, and so I'm feeling pretty good. That's the basic layer. Then there's the issue, the next layer is, well, okay, I'm able to survive every day, manage, but what about security? Am I safe? Have I got a job and resources? Do I have a family and health? You see, once I can take care of myself and everything's kind of okay, I can think, well, now I guess I can have a family. And you know something interesting? What's the best birth control in the world? Rising economy. You raise the economy and you'll find the birth rate diminishes. And the only reason in the United States, which has a very high standard of living, that our population hasn't diminished is because of immigration. But you look at countries in Europe today, you look at South Korea and some other countries that are advancing economically very rapidly, and you'll find that people are putting off having children, getting married and that sort of thing because they want to get their job. That's important. They want to acquire so much wealth and so on, and because that's very important to them. Well, then once you've sort of got everything, you've got the basics so that you're functioning physiologically okay, and you got a family, and you got a roof over your head, and you feel safe and secure, the police force is out there, whatever the case may be. Now, what's the next thing you're interested in? Well, gee, family, friends, intimacy. You got time to spend in an intimate way with others. How many of you said, hey, I got a problem, Dad, I want to talk to you, and Dad says, hey, I'm busy right now, come back, call me later. Right? Or mom, or whomever it is, or your boss. If we're busy, we haven't got time for intimacy, look, let's get on with the job, or I've got to go somewhere. But once you've kind of acquired these other things, then you can get into a situation where you feel there's a sense of love and belonging. And after that, then what do you want next? Well, I want respect. I want self-esteem. I want people to know that I'm making $5 million more than anybody else around here. And I live in the biggest house, or I'm driving the best car. And don't you think advertising plays that to the hilt? Wear this clothes. It makes a statement about who you are. drive that car, you know, live in that house. I'm in this community. It's gated. You know, we're special. So that's, you want respect. You want respect. Now, real respect is different. Real respect comes because you've been respectful to others, and they respect you, or they respect your resourcefulness, or they respect the fact that you've done well with your life, and not at the expense of others, or whatever the case may be. And then finally, the other one is the self-actualization. You know, you can now talk about what's moral and be creative and spontaneity, and you like to solve problems. You don't have prejudice, and you accept facts because, hey, I've got food on the table, a roof over the head, I got a family that loves me, I've got friends, and I've got intimate relationships. I feel very content and safe and secure. So now I can really start talking and acting like I really want to, because the constraints are going away. Man, I sure don't want to go backwards. And this is really important. If some technology is coming down the pike and you don't think it's going to be good for that community, so you understand how you're going to work with that community for them to see that and to take appropriate action. As to what you think is appropriate. You know, appropriate's a fuzz word. What's appropriate for me may not be for you. Well, anyway, there was a Greek fellow called Constantine Doxiadis. And years ago, I read an article he had in Science magazine, which is the weekly magazine from the American Association for the Advancement of Science. And had to do with cities and how they form and why they form and that sort of thing. Because why do we have community? Why do we like to be in a city setting, in a community? Well, it's because we help each other. If I can, it's like the lady I was telling you about says, I can go buy my groceries now. I don't have to grow my own rice. Well, what does that do? That frees her up to do something else. Maybe move up a little in the Maslow's hierarchy. Have a little more comfort. Pleasure. Okay? We like that. It's a sharing of responsibilities that happens in community, isn't it? Somebody wants to be the grocer, so he does that. You pay him for doing it, so you're free to do something else. And so cities, I like to think, can become kind of like an orchestra, don't they? People are playing different instruments or doing different jobs, but when you put it all together and integrate it, something good can come out of it, like beautiful music comes out of an orchestra. However, if we're not getting along well, it can be pretty discordant. Next time we meet, we'll talk about ethics.